it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Finally. Sorry. Okay. So real estate closing costs. This is. Can you can you see the whole thing?
It
Okay.
looks like it's,
So
yeah.
Yeah, we can
who's
see it.
teaching you? Okay. Perfect. So who's actually teaching you? Am I a credible person? I mean, you really don't know me. So here's a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in South Florida. I am Latina. My mom is Cuban. My dad's Argentinian. I've been in title for over 10 years. I've been in real estate, believe it or not, over 30. And I am the managing partner of the World Title in Florida. And I am passionate about showing realtors and educating them because I feel like I've done a little bit of everything. I am a licensed realtor and I've done real estate before. I used to do mortgages and title. So, and I'm an investor. I love to fix and flip. Lily knows and Edwin knows. So I'm in that circle as well. So anything you guys need, I'm always here to help you. Questions, doubts, advice, you can always reach out to me. Okay, so closing costs. This is what we're gonna go over today. I'm not gonna bore you, but you are gonna get a lot out of this presentation. What are closing costs? Buyer versus seller closing costs. Who pays what? And explaining closing costs to buyers and sellers, which I think that's a big thing. And then I have a surprise for you guys at the end that's going to make your life a lot easier. Okay, so yes, buyer and sellers both pay closing costs. So closing costs are various fees, expenses that buyers and sellers must pay at closing when either buying or selling real estate. There's a lot to closing costs. In addition to the purchase price, depending on location and county, their fees may vary as well. Loan types, and of course, what you negotiate. Just know that everything on the contract is negotiable, including closing costs. So keep it in mind, and we're going to circle back that in further more in the presentation. So let's break down closing costs. What do buyers pay and what do sellers pay? So buyers' closing costs consist of loan fees. So you'll see origination fees, credit report fees, appraisal fees, underwriting fees. So loan, if they're taking out a loan, they have loan fees. Now, the only difference between a cash deal and a loan deal is you still have closing costs on a cash deal, you just don't have loan costs. And it does get lowered because you don't have to pay homeowners insurance on a cash deal. You don't have to escrow taxes and insurance. So the closing costs on a cash deal is a lot less than closing costs on a loan deal. So keep that in mind. Title fees like title insurance, title searches, lien searches, which is a whole other training. I can break it down and explain what all those consist of. And then you have government fees, which are recording fees, transfer tax fees. So those are fees that the title company provides, but they're not title company fees. They're fees that get collected on every transaction, no matter who you close with. They're I don't know if you guys remember in real estate school, they made you do like the note, the mortgage, the deed, which is a 0.006 or 0.003. That's where the government fees lie. Then you have miscellaneous fees like HOA fees because they get prorated. Condo questionnaire, if they're doing financing, sometimes lender asks for a condo questionnaire, which that's usually an upfront fee that comes out of pocket. Any courier wire fees, survey fees if required, notary fees. So all those are fees associated with buyers. Now sellers also have closing costs. They have, of course, the commission, which is pretty much what takes up most of the closing costs. Owner title insurance, depending on what's on the contract. So remember that on the contract's going to govern the fees, and I'm going to go over that in another slide of the who pays what. So for a title company to know what the buyer's paying and what the seller's paying, we go back always to the contract because the contract is going to tell us who's paying what fees, such as title insurance, title searches, and whatever else is negotiated on the contract. So seller also has to pay property tax prorations. They have HOA dues because it has to get prorated if they have any mortgages. That gets collected at closing. HOA estoppels, which are basically the questionnaire that title companies send out to the association to see if there's on time, if they're on time, if there are any assessments, um, if there's any violations with the association. All that is what comes out on the estoppel. Any utility fees, water. Um, some municipalities have light involved in a lien search, and like I think Homestead has includes the light, courier wire fee, and also notary fees. Does anyone have any questions so far? No one? Anyone? No
Jen,
questions?
Jen,
Oh,
who pays the
yeah.
estoppel for that way everybody gets to
That's what
understand
I'm
who
gonna
pays
go
what?
over on the next slide of who pays what, so
Awesome.
you guys
Thank you.
can see everything. So moving on to the next slide. Who pays what? Okay, so I put here the page of the contract, right? Of who pays what. It's from page 3 of your contract, and it's number 9, right? So if you look at number 9, it says closing costs, and it has A and B: closing costs paid by seller and closing costs paid by buyer. And if you look there, it lists everything that gets paid. So if you go though, it's a little tricky and confusing sometimes. But if you go to number 9, let's go to number 9A, the seller. The seller pays documentary stamps. So that's basically your doc stamps. Whenever you do a transfer of title or of ownership, the county charges you doc stamps for that. That is always a seller cost, which is honestly, after the commission, it's the second most expensive closing cost for the seller is the doc stamps because it's based off the sales price. I think it's like point you have to take the sales price and multiply it by 0.007 or 0.0007. It might be 0.0007. And that you'll know what the doc stamps are. And then here, if you look here, it says title search. But this is where it gets tricky. So if you look, it says title search charges if paragraph 9C triple I is checked. So if you come here to the left, I kind of broke it down what basically it what the eyes mean. So the first one is little I. We're gonna go down here. You see here it says check one, little I, seller shall designate closing agent and pay for owner's policy and charges, and buyer shall pay the premium buyer's lender's policy and charges, whatever, blah blah blah. So basically what that means is the seller's gonna pay for the title insurance and it's going to pick the title company, but the seller's also going to pay for the lien search, and the buyer is going to pay for the lender's policy. So careful with this because it's funny that we're doing this because I actually have a closing right now. Um, that I got the email this morning, coincidentally, how now the seller is trying to push the buyer to use their title company, and they're going to pay for the title insurance. So the buyer's thinking they're going to save all this money, but in fact, they're paying for the owner's policy. They're not paying for the lender's policy. So when the seller's paying for owner's title insurance, they're the ones that will pay for the title insurance owners, but the lender is still the responsibility of the buyer. And they're also going to pay for the city lien search. Just so you know, the norm, what everybody's used to in Dade and Broward County, is that the buyer picks and pays. It's what they're used to. Notice I said what's the norm, what they're used to, because everything, like I said in the beginning, everything on the contract is negotiable. It's what you negotiate. You see, the seller can pay and pick for title in Dade County without a problem. It's whatever is negotiated and whatever is agreed upon between buyer and seller. Okay?
Jennifer, when
Yes.
we use the form simplicity, is it
Uh-huh.
defaulted to be a certain way so we know? If not, so that
No, it's whatever you defaulted to.
whatever you click, okay, okay.
Right. It's whatever you click. That's why they give you choices. Like I always tell people, you're not stuck in that choice. It's not cookie cutter. It's a contract. Therefore, everything is negotiable. I have when the market was going crazy. So in St. Lucie County, the seller picks. But when the market was going crazy, that people were up against a bunch of contracts with open houses lines over the corner, a lot of my agents were selling up there, and they would put, look, my buyer will pay for the title insurance, and they used it as a negotiating tool. Because now the seller, that's one less cost that the seller is going to pay. So, for instance, if the buyer pays, let's say it's in St. Lucie County, not Miami-Dade or Broward, and you pick two little eyes, buyer pays for title insurance and picks closing agent, but also buyer would pay for lien search and title search. So the seller there would save themselves the title insurance, the lien search, and the buyer would also pay the title search. So they'll save themselves the title insurance and the lien search. So they use it as a negotiating tool to be able to win over their offers. So keep that in mind. Your contracts and your offers, the way you structure them is gonna make that be a winning contract or the losing contract. The way you structure, and when I structure a contract, I mean deposit, days of inspection, who pays what, incentives, so forth and so on. And once you do that, you also have to read before you go structuring your contract. Research it. How long has it been listed? Got the history, so forth and so on. Which we're not gonna get into that. That's like another training. Okay, so we'll just it's another day. But keep that in mind. And then the one that most people pick in Miami-Dade and Broward is the three little eyes, which is the one which I don't have it here that says Miami-Dade Broward provisions. So a lot of people pick that one, and it's funny because I ask agents, why do you pick that? To see if they pick it, and they tell me they don't know, that that's just what their broker told them to do, which is fine because they're doing it correctly. Because if you pick Miami-Dade and Broward provision, the buyer still pays for the title insurance. The buyer still picks the title company, but then now seller would pay the lien search and the title search. Now let's go back to 9A and B, and this is where it tells you. You see, if you look at B, cost to be paid by buyer, you're gonna see here it says owner's policy and charges if paragraphs 9C, two little I is checked. But if you go down here on the right side, the last one, paid by buyer, it says owner's policy premium if paragraph 9C triple I is checked. So it's a little tricky. And then if you look to the left, municipal lien search, if paragraph 9C triple I is checked. So it's a little confusing because, of course, they don't tell you in black and white. But what that basically means is, this is what you need to know. If you pick two little I's, title insurance is paid by the buyer, and lien search and title search. If you pick three little I's, it's seller pays lien search and title search. So if you're representing the buyer and they're buying in Dade and Broward, you do want to pick the three little I's. It's just you're saving them between lien search and title search about like $500, something like that, which doesn't seem like a lot, but you know it is a lot for some people. So does anybody have any questions on this part here? No? Okay. If you guys want to take a picture of that, so you guys can remember, go ahead. I can send this presentation to Edwin and Lily so she can give it to you guys, whatever you guys want.
Actually,
Okay, so
guys, I'm recording it, so I'm gonna upload it to YouTube after to our page so you guys can rewind and see everything. Okay?
all right, awesome. Okay, so moving on. So typical closing costs. So everybody always asks me about what's the percentage, which I'm not gonna lie to you, I hate using percentages because it totally varies. You know what I mean? But if they must know, because you're sitting at a table writing up an offer with your buyer or listing agreement with your seller, whatever, and they ask you what the typical closing cost range from. So buyer is usually anywhere between 2 to 5%. I know that's a big width, but I would tell you 2 to 3 if it's cash, 5% if you're dealing with financing, and I would even go 6% nowadays because I know origination fees are a little higher because of the rates. So if you're typical, you're at a birthday party. oh, how much are closing costs more or less? Well, if you're buying cash, pretty much anywhere from between two to three. If you're buying with financing, about 5 to 6%. Sellers typically anywhere between 6 to 10%, because it all depends on what the commission is. So that's usually what ranges are. I personally don't like to do that, but go on to the next slide, because this is where I was going to tell you this will make your life so much easier. So Newell Title has an app, and the app, I'm not gonna lie, is amazing. It does buyer quotes, seller net sheets, and sell to net sheets, and so many more other things. You can literally do a buyer closing costs or a seller closing costs in like less than a minute. And it's easy to use. It's like you put it in. I can show it to you guys right now. Um, you could do self connect. So if you're at a listing appointment and you know that your seller is also purchasing another property, and they're like, look, and the contract closed and you don't know, whatever, but you know that they need to at least net 200,000 to be able to purchase their other home, you can actually work the numbers backwards in like 30 seconds. Just put in the information and you can work it backwards. And they're like, okay, so we would have to sell your house for you net 200,000. We would have to sell your house for 535. That's the lowest we could go. You can do it backwards. Seller net sheets, you can do that as well. Buyer quotes, it has like a flipping calculator. There's so many calculators in the app. And literally, people call me for closing costs all the time, and I do it in seconds. I'm like, yeah, here, and I even text it to them. It's an app, you download it, and it also has like marketing stuff. And if you get the premium, which is $10 a year, you can download the marketing templates. They have videos for you to put up on Instagram and social media. So it's a really cool app. Um, I'll send you guys the link so you can have it. But app, you can literally explain closing costs in seconds with the app right in front of them. I love it. So that's an easy way for you guys to figure out closing costs and seller sheets and stuff like that. So check out our app. I'm gonna send you guys a link, and that's pretty much all I have. This is all my information. Save it. And of course, it's a better picture of me there than what I look like right now. But hey, that's okay.
Hey,
Hey
Jen,
guys, so I wanted
Hold
to
on,
interrupt really quick. So
hold on. I have a question here.
going back to the app.
Yes, the
That's a
estimate.
great.
Sorry, there's a question. The app estimate is real numbers. Yes.
Got it. So going
Voila.
back to the app, guys, this is a great time whenever you guys go to do your listing presentations because you have a potential seller. This is a great tool that you can advertise that you guys can offer in comparison to other realtors. You show them the app on your phone, you send them the link. This is great for them to be like, okay, these people are not just selling my house, but they know the numbers involved. How much are they gonna sell or net? That's very important for sellers. So just keep in mind it's a great incentive when you're going to listing presentations to bring it up, okay?
And also, I was going to tell you, you can put your picture on there with the logo of the company. So when you do send it to them, it has your picture, your logo, your information. So it is, branded to them.
hey, Jen, we got a couple brand new agents that just graduated. Any word of advice for them now that they're in the industry?
Um, Educate yourself a lot. Try to learn as much as possible. Um, this is the thing, like I do trainings like this, and sometimes it's a lot, and sometimes it could feel like a lot, but don't worry, you'll get it once you get your first contract and you do it. And just have a good broker, a good title company, a good lender. Have a good team that you can call them, and have get questions asked. You could call them when you're with a client. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's not even a lie. I know it sounds super cheesy. It is. You're only as good as your team. But yeah, get a good team on by your side and don't give up. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. Don't you agree, Edwin?
I agree. I agree 100%. Thank you for the advice. And thank you, Jen, for coming on and giving us your time.
No, you're welcome. And
Thank you,
again,
Jenna.
really, if you guys need anything, I'm a phone call away. Text me, whatever you guys need.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Anybody else have any other questions? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Jen, and have a great day, everyone. Take care.
You
Thank you,
too.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.